And while we start, my name is Coach Nina. I'll be filling in for Marcella today. I'd also invite you to start with just typing your intentions in the chat. I'd love to hear what your intentions are for the session today. That'd be awesome. Today, the topic that we're going to talk about is the need for freedom, which is a really good one, right? Because the need for freedom shows up in power struggles with our kids, and that's a big one that a lot of people go through, right? So the need for freedom is for autonomy, for our kids to feel like they have the ability to make their own decisions, their own choices. They have a say in their everyday life, right? Because as parents, it's our job to control these things and to make sure that things get done and the way that they're supposed to be. But from a child's perspective, it can kind of feel like a little like, because they don't feel like they get a lot of say. It's you have to go to school, you have to do this, we have to eat this, we got to go to sleep, it's time to go, it's this. So a lot of the times, we do these things because we have to set expectations, we have to set rules. And sometimes they can feel a little defeated, like they don't have a big say. And this isn't to say that we just be like, okay, you get free reins, you get to choose whatever you want to do. It's about helping them feel that their voice matters, their opinions matter, depending on what their age is, right? A 2-year-old is going to look different than what, freedom we would give to our 10-year-old. So, we'll talk about different ways that we could do that depending on ages. But yeah, so, to keep going on that, it's it can look a lot like power struggles, right? So if we're seeing like everything that we do with our kids, to leave the house is a struggle, to get them dressed, to brush their teeth, to, do these tasks that we have to get going. It's like, okay, it looks like we're having a little bit of a struggle here. Maybe they need a little bit more freedom. So that's from our perspective is how can I help them feel like they have a little bit more say in what's capable, right? So it's like, okay, so it might take a couple more minutes, but let's decide, what do you want to wear today? Like, or pick out your underwear, or, how do you want to brush your teeth today? Do you want for me to be the dentist, or do you want me to do this and that? And it's incorporating these choices that we don't really care what the outcome is, and trying to make that a little bit more like connection and teamwork. We're not going to ask them to make the choice of something that's for an adult, like, asking a 4-year-old, where do you want to go on vacation? Or do you want to go to school today? Or, it's about giving them age appropriate choices that we really don't care what the outcome is going to be, as long as it helps them, feel heard and feel seen and understood. And when we can lean into that and really start to allow them to make these, decisions that feel important for them, we're going to see less power struggles because they feel heard and they feel seen and they feel connected and they feel like it's coming from a place of teamwork. So let's say for a 2-year-old, right? They're in that age where they realize that they are a separate being from mom and dad, and they learn that they have their own voice and they can make their own choices. So for 2-year-olds, we want to keep it simple. Do you want this or that? And that's how, we lean into it. But for a 5-year-old, you give them 2 options, they might just be like, okay, no, we need more. So this is where it comes into like that collaboration and that teamwork. And it's like, you know what? We've been having a little bit of struggle getting ready for school in the morning. I'd love to know what would work for you, or how we can make it more fun. Or what do you think? Do you have any ideas on how we can make the mornings better? Or do you want to pick out your clothes before we go to school at night? Or do you want to wake up a couple minutes earlier and do our clothes? It's more so coming about and getting into their world and immersed and seeing what their thought process is and their point of view for certain things that are appropriate. And it really helps them feel like, okay, wow, she's really listening to me. And it really helps them lean in. And then, for as your kids get older, then we can expand on this, even more with what's appropriate. I've worked with parents that have like teenagers, and you'd be surprised where it comes to like, I don't want to say negotiate, but talking about your kids with what boundaries are, or, okay, what do you think a fair time would be for your curfew? You know, and talking with your kids about these things and helping them feel like they are involved and they have a say, and they're much more willing to cooperate and follow the rules and to come home at the time that you guys agreed on, you know, instead of, and if they're running late, they'll reach out and, hey, I'm running a few minutes late, because we are working as a team together, and they feel that, and they're more willing to cooperate because they don't want to lose that either. So they want to keep doing these things to keep getting these more privileges and working with us. And so, yeah, so that's basically the need for freedom in a nutshell. And like I said, you know, when it always comes down to any struggles, play is also our best friend. Like I'm sure Marcella has, you know, reiterated too. In, you know, a lot of parents struggle with bedtime or just leaving the house in the morning, getting ready for school, doing the everyday routines. So when we can incorporate that need for freedom while also making it a little bit more playful, a little bit more fun, a little bit more lighthearted, it really makes a world of a difference in getting out the door and getting those things done that we need to do, you know? So a lot of the times it's, you know, if we just redirect our kids and say, okay, put your shoes on, put your jacket on, put this and put that, and it for a 5-year-old, we're not going to get anywhere. They're not going to be receptive to that. It's too many steps. They're unable to process it. So if we can come in and we can kind of make it fun, or we can just do one task at a time. And it's like, okay, ready? Time to go get our shoes. Put your shoes. And then making it a fun way. Let me see if you can run as fast as Sonic to go put your shoes on. And then they'll run and put the shoes on. And then when you're ready, come back to me and I'll tell you the next step. And then they'll come back. Okay, now we need our backpack, you know? So it's like trying to incorporate that fun and lightheartedness with them. And that also helps with their sense of freedom because, you know, think about it for us as adults too. We don't like to be told what to do, how to do it all day long either. You know, if we think about it from an adult perspective as a boss, what boss do we like better? The boss that comes to us and says, hey, you know, we have this project that's due. It's about XYZ. I'd love to hear your opinion on it, or how we can make it better, or, you know, just working with you in a collaborative way, and it comes, talks to you to figure it out, versus the boss that comes in and says, okay, we have a project due Friday. It's due this day, and tough. No questions. If you don't like it, you just do it, and that's it. You know, so when we can start to think about these things from our perspective, in a sense, right? And how we would like things to be handled and to work through, and how we can incorporate that in way in our children that's, of course, age appropriate, right? Then it can really make a world of a difference and be helpful in moving things around and getting to where we need to go, and feeling better while we do it too. Because when we're able to come into these situations and be more playful, give them more freedom, they feel better and we feel better, because we're a little bit less stressed. We're not coming in with this overpowering energy, and we're more relaxed, and we feel better about it too, and they feel better, and these transitions go smoother. And the more we can lean into that, it really is just helpful for the whole collective as well.
All right. So why did we change the time? Because we listened, we heard you. And a lot of you were saying, hey, this is the time that I pick up my kids from school. So I know that kids are in summer break, but it's just better to have it at a time where most people can. So that's why we changed the time. From now forward is going to be from 9 to 10:30 a.m. PST, which is now the next 90 minutes. And we are going to do the same process. If you could please type your intention in the chat, we're going to start with intentions. Then after that, I'm going to move into announcements. Then we do success stories if we have some, and then the teaching, and we end with coaching. So if you could please type in the chat. Hi, Connie. Hi, good to see you. If you could please type in the chat the intention for this session. So we start with that. So while you type an intention for the session, I want to make a few exciting announcements. So there are a few things coming up here in HIC Parenting. And because you are a member of the Secure Parent Collective membership, you have access, free access to all the amazing things that are going to happen soon in HIC Parenting. So if you see me promoting in social media, don't buy, you will get a free invitation to this. So the first one is on June 20th, which is next week. We are going to do an event here at the same time, the same time and day. Is exclusive for you guys, for the members of the Secure Parent Collective membership. And basically it is a workshop where I'm going to explain the PEACE process, PEACE, that's an acronym, the PEACE process to return to calm by understanding our triggers and our children's triggers. So that's going to be next week at this same time of day. It's going to be a workshop, meaning that the normal session is going to be a little modified because there is going to be more teaching. And then we open up for questions. It is exclusive for you guys. On June 25th, HIC Parenting is going to have a workshop. This is a paid workshop. Everybody's invited, meaning that we are going to sell it to the public, but you, for being a member of the HIC, of the Secure Parent Collective membership, you have free invitation to attend, and it is our Transform Bedtime Workshop from Chaos to Calm. We are going to bring in our sleep coach. Her name is Paula Morales, and she is a certified sleep consultant with, she's a gentle sleep consultant, no cry it out method or anything. And she's been our sleep coach since 2021. So we are going to bring her in on June 25th at 9 a.m. PST. That's a Tuesday. And her and I are going to coach the people who purchased that workshop on how to make bedtime a lot easier. So this workshop is for you if you have a child 1 and up to 8 years old, and bedtime is taking more than 20 minutes. If bedtime is taking more than 20 minutes, if it is fights, if it is, stalling, if it is, no, mom, but stay here a little more time, and you feel that you're stuck next to your child and you cannot enjoy your adult time at night, then this workshop is for you. We are going to do 20-minute teaching, and the rest of the time, our sleep coach and myself are going to be coaching people, the people who attend live at that time. So don't purchase it when I promote it online, because you're going to get a free invitation in your email. And the last exciting announcement that I have is that this week we released the Navigating Feelings Toolkit, which is my ultimate toolkit to help children understand, process, and communicate their feelings without aggression. Oh my goodness. Okay, Connie. So I'm very curious about this because you guys have free access. So if you pay for it, you can request a refund. We will refund you. But right now we are selling it for Father's Day week. And you have it in your members area. So go to your members area, to the Secure Parent Collective, the tools tab, tap in there, and it's the last tool that you find there. So it is 34 pages, it's interactive. Children It's broken down in ages between 2 and 19 years old. And it's basically what I've been using with my twins to help them process and communicate big emotions effectively. So don't buy it. It's free access for being a member of the Secure Parent Collective membership. So I'm so happy, Connie, that you already downloaded it. If you could please send me a DM and let me know how it has helped you. That will help us very, very much, because it will be kind of like the first testimonials that we can paste on our website. So last week, Coach Dina, she talked about the need for freedom. So remember that we are on the U element of the use process. This is basically the reason why we're here in the Secure Parent Collective membership, for you to become secure parents from the understanding of your children's needs and of your needs. So that's the path to be a secure parent, when we have understanding of our children's needs, of our needs, of how to help our children settle down from their stress response, how to help ourselves. And we have the education on how to develop skills in our kids, how to collaborate with them, how to communicate with them. That's the use process. Understanding needs, settling down from stress response, and educating on skills and positive behavior. When we have these three, we become secure parents. So secure parents are not necessarily perfect parents. Nobody's perfect, but we feel confident in our own skills. And how I describe it, some people ask me, so you never yell, so you never feel angry? And I said, I feel all my feelings. I feel angry, I feel sad, I feel anxious, I feel happy, I feel everything, because I'm a human. The difference is that I don't drown in overwhelm and frustration. I have frustrating moments, but I don't drown in it. And that's our goal here in the Secure Parent Collective membership. This is a journey. It's not that you're going to arrive there in a week or two. It is a continuous journey that, as you keep coming back to the sessions, as you keep applying the tools that are presented to you in members area, you're going to start seeing those changes. Okay, so I think I got sidetracked. So let's go back to the topic of needs. So we are in the U element, which is understanding needs. We already talked about the need for survival or safety, the need for belonging, the need for freedom, the need for power. And then today, this week, we are going to wrap up the last 5 basic needs, which is the need for fun. Meaning that today we are going to end, when it comes to teaching, that need, unveiling needs, or that, that element of the use process, unveiling needs, understanding needs. And next week, with the event, we are going to start the next step, which is settling down our stress responses and our children's stress responses. Okay, so let's talk about the need for fun, which is the last basic need. And I want to start there. Let's let that sink in. Fun is a basic need. It's a basic need. What does that mean that it's a basic need? It's necessary. It is a must-have in our lives. If we don't enjoy our parenting, or if our children are not enjoying being around us, then that need is not met. There is an empty space there. And then when children fill that void, then they act it out. So if routine feels like a chore and not as they are really enjoying the process and having fun during the process, then they fight it more, right? Same thing with homework. Dr. William Glasser, who is the creator of the 5 basic needs, he was the one who found we have 5 basic needs. He links up the need for fun directly with learning. A brain who is not engaged is a brain who is not having fun. You learn the most when you enjoy what you are learning about. So if homework feels like a chore, if homework feels stressful, if children somehow connect responsibilities like learning to make their beds every morning, learning the process of the after school routine, you come to the house, you hang the backpack, you put your shoes away. Like if those steps are not enjoyable for them or they connected with stress, then they fight it. They fight it. And unknowingly or unknowingly, we contribute to that. Many times when I have one-on-one coaching sessions with clients who may be struggling with, for example, bedtime routine or mealtime, more times than not, I see that the parent's anxiety is impairing the child from enjoying that moment, that step of the process, and that's feeding up on the power struggles. So I'm saying this to say not to put more guilt on ourselves, more than the you know, as parents, as mothers, sometimes we are hard on ourselves. It's not about that. It's about being aware of those sticky moments of our children's daily routine and saying, hey, in which way am I contributing for this moment to be enjoyable or for this moment to be connected to stress? And then to think about that and then to say, okay, how can I work on myself so it's not as stressful? Now, I have to say, I'm autistic. I need a lot of breaks and I get overwhelmed a lot very easily, very easily. So for me, it's very easy to enter into being like doing their daily routine, being overwhelmed, or getting to their bedtime already done of the day and kind of almost crawling myself to do crawling to do their night routine. So if that is us, if you have special needs like me, or if you just see yourself that it gets to a point of the day that you cannot remain as light and as calm, what has helped me is to see before I get there how I can support myself throughout the day so I don't get there as fast. And so I have the setup system or the setup support for that time. Let me give you an example. The morning. So the morning routine, the school morning routine, not the the summer break routine. The school morning routine, I was finding myself rushing to get out of the door, and that rushed energy created this rushed energy in my twins. And when children have a heightened rushed energy running through their system, they are more prone to fight with each other, right? So they were getting into many sibling squabbles and all in the morning, and it kind of drags the morning routine even longer because if they're fighting, they're not brushing their teeth, they're not putting their shoes on. So after I saw that I was contributing to that, I started analyzing, why do I feel that this way, and what do I need to set up in place so I'm a lot calmer? And I noticed that I was doing many different things at once. I was trying to pack up their lunches while I was telling them to brush their teeth, while I was making sure that things were packed up in the car. Like I was doing many things at once as a neurodivergent person with autism and ADHD. So, so what I did, I started thinking, okay, what can I delegate to my husband? And what can I make easier? So I came up with a few different things. Number one, for me, works that my twins go to bed with their school clothes on because they don't have an uniform. They don't have an uniform, so they just wear, simple shorts and a t-shirt. We live in Phoenix, so it's just a simple outfit. So they go to bed like that. They wake up and they're ready. So I stopped doing their shower in the morning. I'm Colombian, and we usually culturally we shower in the morning, and then I moved it for the night, so they're ready in the morning when they wake up, and I only have to kind of like wash their face, and I don't do their hair because they're boys. I mean, they have really short hair, but yeah. So that was one thing that made my morning a lot easier. The second thing was that I delegated packing lunches to my husband. My husband leaves home at 6:30 a.m. When he leaves home at 6:30 a.m., I'm just starting the morning routine with the twins. So what I asked them to do, like before you leave, could you please have their backpacks ready in the laundry room, which is close to our car? And then he say yes, and that's what he does for us in the morning. And then the last thing that I started doing is that every night I set up their shoes and their socks and Miguel's glasses. One of my twins, he wears glasses in the car. So we are not rushing looking for socks, not matching socks. Where are my socks? I cannot find my shoe. They just get in the car and they put their shoes on and it's easier. What else did I do? So those are the little things that they're little things, but they added up and they made my morning routine so much lighter and I'm not as stressed. And guess what I noticed? That my kids started fighting less and less. I don't see sibling squabbles anymore in the morning just because my energy is different. And my energy is different because I work on how can I meet this need for fun. So the need for fun is not having like, oh, you have fun. Is how can I be a lot more at ease? How can I be calmer? And how can I help my children be more at ease and calmer and enjoying this time? So that's basically the need for fun. Again, Dr. William Glasser, he connects the need for fun directly to learning, When children are refusing to finish their homework or to work on a task, it's either because the way we're presenting it or the way the school is presenting it or the teacher is not engaging according to their learning style, or it is because they are not emotionally invested or they're cognitively challenged or under challenged, meaning that it is very challenging for them and they feel they cannot win, or is very easy, too easy for them, and they feel like it's boring. And that's one of my twins. He was not engaged in school activities at all. Like he didn't do homework. I remember him expressing, I'm bored all the time. Well, they tested him and then we found out that he's gifted. And now they're going to accommodate to his needs. So when your child is not doing homework, where they're not taking care of their learning activities, think before trying to get them to do the homework or before trying to get them to accomplish the task, it's better to think, what's disengaging them? Is it that it's too challenging? Is it that it's too easy? Is it that they're not emotionally invested because it's not their topic of interest? Is it because is not suiting their learning style? So there are 3 learning styles. There is visual learners. Let me know in the comments what kind of learner are you. So this is the visual learner. They love visual aids. They love to see things. They love diagrams. They prefer watching videos over reading books. They learn more by seeing things. So if you're a visual learner and then you have a question, instead of Googling things, you go to YouTube because you prefer to watch the video over reading the article. So that's a visual learner. If that is you, let me know in the chat. Silly to say, but as a teacher, this is everything I do. And I'm aware of that work at home is not as easy to be as organized, proactive, and reflective. You're visual? Okay. Okay. So the auditory ones, they have good listening skills. So, and I want to stop here because if you have a visual learner and all your instructions are auditory, and then you're wondering why your child is not listening to you, is because they will listen to you if you show them. If you show them things, if they see the prompt, if they see their routine on a calendar. Okay. So the auditory learners, I think I'm here, they have really good listening skills. You say things and your child pays attention and they embody what you tell them. They are great at learning through storytelling, through discussions. They're your little talkers. So if that's your child, say, yeah, that's my child. Or that if that's you, say that's me. The kinesthetic ones, that's my twins. They learn through movement. So they're not going to be sitting down for long to do homework. To do their additions and subtractions on a sheet of paper. They need to do their additions and subtractions while they jump on hula hoops, while they cut bananas. They're not going to learn fractions on a paper. They're going to learn fractions cooking with you, measuring things and like doing things with their body. So these kind of learners, the kinesthetic learners, they love experiments. They love projects. They love role playing. So they might not be great at just seeing things. They might not be great at just listening and then recalling, but they are great when you involve them. So one thing is if you tell a kinesthetic learner, hey, make sure you brush your teeth, make your bed, and then put your shoes on, you might have a better success if you show them the toothbrush and then you do it with them. Or if you say, hey, I'm going to start this part of the bed and then you finish the other part. Like if they actually see action, you will get a lot farther with your instructions when you have kinesthetic learners than if you're just telling them to do things. The other thing when it comes to the need for fun and learning is the learning preferences. So some people just are great independent learners. So you might tell your child, hey, I don't know. Let's just say that they're learning about the human body, about the bones and the bone structure. That child, if he's an independent learner, if she's an independent learner, they're gonna do the research on them with themselves, and they're gonna come up with the solution. If you say that to a collaborative learner, they're not gonna do it. If you say, hey, learn about the human bones right now, and then they're not just gonna initiate it because they need the teamwork. They need the working with somebody to feel motivated because that's their learning preference. So yeah, I think I am independent learner. I'm a self-educated person. Yeah, I like to educate myself. My husband is a lot more like he's a verbal processor. He likes to learn by processing with me, and sometimes but that's the collaborative learner. They will learn as long as they are in interaction with others. I'll see you next week on our workshop, how to manage our triggers, our children's triggers. Remember to come to the bedtime workshop if that's something that you need help with. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Hi, Mickey, Carla, Gaby. Carla, hi, how are you? Emily, Monica, Connie. Hi, Jamie, Mickey. Hi, welcome. Can I see you for a little bit? I like to see the beautiful faces who are joining us today. Hi, everybody. Great to see you. Great to see you. Any new face here? If you're new, please say, yes, I'm new in the chat. Emily, welcome to the Secure Parent Collective.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. Okay. So this is going to be a different session because today we are going to do a private workshop for you guys. We didn't invite the public. It's just for you guys, where I'm going to be teaching you the peace process to manage your emotions, your triggers, I'm saying, to manage your triggers, to manage your children's triggers, so you can get to calm down a lot faster. So I'm very excited, and this is what we're going to do. I already announced the title. The next thing, if you could please type the intention in the chat, the intention for this session. What would you like to get in the chat after the session? What would you like to get in this session? You see Mario here, Mario Arenas. He is our operations director. He is here to help me with the slides, with tech support, and to take attendance. So if you could please, after you write the intention, DM him, send them a direct message of your email, and that way we can know who's coming to the sessions and who's not. After that, we're going to open up for any success stories that if you've had any success throughout the week, and then we're going to go to the presentation and I'm going to do the workshop. And then if there is enough time, I'm going to take questions. So that's going to be the flow, the workflow that we're going to follow today. So this week, we are going to start the S element of the use process. So we already spent 9 weeks in the U element of the use process, which is understanding our children's needs beneath their behaviors. If you missed some of those sessions, don't worry. This is a course that we are building together. All those sessions are already in your members area of the Secure Parent Collective membership. You can go there and then you can get the training of all the U element of the use process. So this week we are going to start the S element, which is once we understand what the need is, the next thing is our children are all over the place. How do I settle them down? How do I calm down their stress response? That's the S element, settling down our children's stress response and our children's stress response. And we are going to kick off the S element with this workshop about triggers, how to manage our triggers, our children's triggers. So that's why we started with this workshop today. And then we are going to hang our hat on the S element for the following 4 weeks. Okay. If you have any questions about how we are unveiling the use process, let me know now. If not, then we can enter to success stories. Sarah, I want to learn the tools to have a consistent parenting approach. Sometimes I still circle between getting too permissive and getting frustrated. Yeah. I'm glad that you're here, Sarah. My intention is to find ways to keep calm during meltdowns. That today is the day for you. Calm down myself faster. Okay. How to calm myself in the thick of a tantrum. Good. Okay. So I'm very curious. Hi, Rondas, Reveal Social, Jess, Kyra. I think you came just now. If you could please type in your intention in the chat. And then after that, if you can go to Mario. Mario, can you please wave? He's our operations director. Please send them a direct message with your email so we can take attendance. We like to take attendance. Okay, so success stories. Since you've been in the Secure Parent Collective membership, what kind of change have you seen in yourself as a parent? Remember that we're looking for little progress, little by little, to have the big gains. So if you've seen anything, even if it's just like, oh, I am more aware of how I talk to my kids, that's progress. Or, oh, my children respond a little differently. Or, oh, I see I'm a little more peaceful. If you've felt any change, could you please raise your hand? I would love to hear your progress here in the Secure Parent Collective membership. Hi, Emily. Yes.
Hi. Yeah, I think I joined maybe like a week ago, and I purchased the how to stop yelling workbook. And I was really struggling with that. I just had a really rough go with my 4-year-old. And I just completely lost it. And I was like, I need help. So I ended up buying, I've got my 19-month here with me. And so I listened to everything like several times, and I printed out all of the worksheets. Haven't had a chance to work through yet, but just understanding that that I have these beliefs about myself and things that I've learned from my childhood about and my relationship to anger completely changed the way that I viewed myself when I was in those situations with my daughter. And she has like 10 meltdowns a day, and so it's intense. But I've seen an increase in my own calmness, and I'm able to like also, as I'm listening to all this stuff about the use process, like understand that she has needs. She has a lot of sensory needs. So there's just been all these things that I've been picking up since being a part of the Secure Parent Collective. And I'm just so grateful for this. Like, I'm going to cry talking about this because I've needed this so much. Like, yeah, I've been searching, and I've looked all over the internet for different things. And like you say on your posts, you know, you go on TikTok and Instagram and you get bits and pieces and you try to apply them, but nothing's sticking, nothing's working. And it's hard to put all the pieces together for your specific situation. And, you know, my daughter has sensory needs and no one really knew that. And so I had to like figure that out myself and like do all this research. And now she's seeing an OT and now she's getting some help, but we're still like in the throes of it, like in the very beginning stages, figuring out what her sensory diet should be and all of that. So yeah, I'm just trying to take it all in and pace myself because there's so much amazing information here that I'm just like wanting to work through it all and get it all. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. I've already gained so much in maybe the week and a half that I've been a part of this, and I can't wait to learn more.
This warms my heart. It gives me chills. Like I remember it was like last week. I was talking to one of our clients as well, similar to your story. And then I literally came out of my office dancing. And Brian, my husband, was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm dancing every time I hear my parents having success in their lives.
Yeah.
Raising more secure children. That's what fuels my fire to keep going with this. Yeah. So thank you for sharing. I have a question for you. Would you allow us to share the audio portion of your testimonial to help to potentially help more people?
Sure.
Okay, thank you so much, Emily.
Yeah, no problem.
And one thing that I want to tell you, Emily, is that last month we did a private event with our neurocomplex coach in HIC parenting. And she taught us, she coached some of you on sensory needs. And I did a workshop on sensory needs. That replay is in members area of the Secure Parent Collective membership.
Okay.
So just go to members area and look for the replay of our sensory needs event.
Okay. That'd be great. I'll take a look at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All you're doing, please keep going. Please give us all this amazing information. And like, I love how you dig deep and you go beneath the surface for the parents and for the kids. It's not just behavioral strategies, which is, I think, what I found the most. Just like deal with the behavior and kind of, whatever, try to calm yourself. But like, how do you calm yourself if you don't understand what's going on in your heart and your mind? And I think that aspect that you bring into what you do is what makes you so special and unique. So thank you.
Yeah. And the reason is because our coaches and myself as well, we are trained in a parent-centric coaching. We do parent-centric coaching. So meaning like, yes, we help parents figure out what to do with the kids, but mostly we help parents figure out what to do with themselves.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. Like, yeah, I've needed this for a long time. So I'm grateful for you guys.
Okay, awesome. So now we are going to move on to the presentation. Mario, if you could please help me out. He's going to be passing all the slides because every time I'm in charge of the slides, I mess it up. Okay. So before we start with the workshop itself, I want to give you announcements of what's coming in for HIC parenting. And one thing that I want to tell you, because you are a member of the Secure Parent Collective membership, you get to have free access to all our live events, workshops, and future courses that we release. On Monday, we are bringing our sleep coach in HIC parenting. And we are going to, and myself, we are going to deliver a workshop to help parents who have children 2 to 8 years old just get to bed a lot easier. So if you're having a 1 hour bedtime, an hour and a half bedtime, we are going to coach you to have shorter, easier bedtime. If you're dealing with nighttime wake up, we are going to show you the system to just reduce the amount of wake ups. And of course, because we are a gentle parenting, based coaching is not going to be with sleep training methods or cried out methods, none of that. Everything is gentle approach. And then the second portion of that workshop is that our sleep coach is going to coach parents directly on how to make bedtime and nighttime a lot easier. So right now we're offering it to the public for $49, but you get to have free access just because you are a member of the Secure Parent Collective membership. How do you access it? You are going to be getting email reminders with the Zoom link. Is going to be this Tuesday at 9 a.m. PST. So yeah, and I'm very excited. I cannot wait. The second thing that I want to announce is that in our team, we are working towards moving the communication with you guys to a private community. So right now you have access to our Facebook group that has everyone in terms of all our customers there. So if you buy an ebook, you can get in there. We want to gather up all the members of the Secure Parent Collective membership and put them in one place. And we are going to tell you very, very soon what that place is going to be. The intention is that you build a relationship with each other outside these sessions, because this is not just a place where you get parenting guidance from me and our other coaches, but this is a place where you build community with parents who are like you, moving away from traditional methods to a more respectful parenting approach. If you have a question about this workshop or about any of the announcements before we start today's workshop, raise your hand and I will answer your question real quick. If not, we start. Going to sip water. Mario, did anyone raise their hand? ¿Alguno levantó la mano? Okay, it's good. Okay, so let's start this workshop. Yes, this is the peace process to manage. Hold on, let me move the faces because it's covering the title for me. I'm going to be sharing with you the peace process to manage triggers and calm down a lot easier. So this is the same process that I follow for myself and the same process that I follow for my children. And it's just like a breakdown of steps that makes it easy for me to remember in the heat of the moment. And it just has allowed me to get back to calm down stage a lot faster. Considering that I'm a neurodivergent person, I have ADHD, I have autism, I have generalized anxiety. So if it works for me, I'm pretty sure it might work for you. Okay, so next, Mario. Okay, so we are going to divide this workshop in two big teaching sections. Section number 1, for you to gain, the goal of this section is for you to gain awareness of your and your children's triggers so you can manage them in a healthy way. You are going to learn about the type of triggers. So there are direct triggers, there are indirect triggers, and there are trauma triggers. Why is it important to know our triggers? Because if we are not aware of our triggers and the kind of triggers that we have, we live at the mercy of our triggers. If we don't own our triggers own us. So that's why I believe this workshop is imperative for all of us parents who are raising kids who get triggered a lot. To go through, because he helps us understand our triggers, our children's triggers, so we have agency on how to act instead of allowing those triggers to take a hold of us and our children. Mario. And then this section number 2 is where once you have the awareness of, I know what indirect triggers are, direct, trauma triggers. Once you have an understanding of triggers, I'm going to move to section 2, which is basically the practical process, which is the peace process. It's a practical process on how to manage those triggers in a healthy way. So, and that's the very first golden nugget here. It's not about getting rid of our triggers. Our triggers might always be our triggers, or, our triggers might soften through the years with this kind of work. But the idea or the goal is to not get rid of our triggers, is to learn to manage them so they don't control us. So, because when we work very hard on not having triggers, on not getting angry, on not getting overwhelmed, on not feeling anxious, then that gives us more anxiety. It's like you're anxious about feeling anxious. You're anxious about getting anxious. You get anxious about maybe getting angry, and then you get more anxious, and that makes you angry faster. So it's not about getting rid of triggers or our children's triggers. It's about learning how to manage them in a healthy way. And that's section number 2 with the peace process. Okay, Mario. So I personally taught this process to some of our clients, our one-on-one coaching clients. And these are some of the things that they're saying. I kind of like blurred out their name because I want to protect their username. But this is what they're saying. No spanking, no yelling, calmly talking out my son's angry moments when not getting TV time and ending bedtime with a puzzle and book instead. That happened because that parent learned to manage their triggers. Or big win for my oldest toddler. He started walking himself to his room to sit down and cool off when he's frustrated. That happened because I guided personally this parent on how to help her son who was having a very, very hard time managing separation anxiety every time that her husband got deployed because they are a military family. Or the one below, my son communicated with me that he needed quiet time without a meltdown. This was a parent who started one-on-one coaching with us because her 4-year-old son got kicked out of 3 preschools in the same year because of aggression, because of hitting other classmates and even the teachers. So when we learn what to do with our triggers and help our children, it makes a big of a difference. And caveat, I have to say that these parents, they work with us in a personalized setting, meaning that we got to go deep into their family dynamic, into the nuances of their parenting. From there, we developed a more specific plan. On this workshop, I'm going to give you the overview. And if at the end you say, hey, I want to have that more direct guidance, then I would tell you at the end how we can get there. Okay. And then I want to introduce myself. You already know who I am. I am Marcela Collier. I'm a certified parenting coach and founder of HIC Parenting Education Agency. In the last 4 years, we have helped 14,151 parents bring peace to their parenting and raise emotionally healthy children. And I didn't do it alone. I have an amazing team of coaches who help me with this mission. And we do it through the Secure Parent Collective membership, and we do it through our personalized parenting coaching program, which is called Parenting with Understanding Coaching Program. We have a graduate today. Her name is Miki. She was in the program, and now she joined the Secure Parent Collective membership. Okay. So, Mario, as I told you, the use process is the course that we're building in members area for you. We already went through the U element, which is understanding your children's needs. That's a 9 weeks thing. The idea with the use process is that with all this, you have all the tools to raise emotionally healthy children. Once you understand how the need, once you know how to settle down stress responses. We start this week with the triggers, and we're going to continue the next 4 weeks with this topic. And once you know how to educate your children on social emotional skills, that's basically all you need to raise emotionally healthy children. So we are building together this course. You can find in members area the first 9 weeks. And you are going to find the replay of today's workshop in members area next week. Mario. And one thing that I forgot to tell you, if at any point of this presentation, you want to take a screenshot as many times as you want. And if you want to post it on the stories on Instagram, tag me at HiMPod Club, so I'm able to kind of like repost and tell people all the amazing things that we did today. Okay, so let's start with, where do triggers come from? So according to Crisis Prevention Intervention, CPI, there are 4 behavior levels. meaning that there are 4 levels that we go through when we get dysregulated. And this applies for all humans. It's not just for kids, it's for everybody, for adults, for kids. So let me know in the chat. I'm going to open it right now. If with your kids, sometimes it seems like I just cannot calm them down. Like they would not stop. Like it doesn't matter what I do. I just can't calm them down. Or if you relate to, I have a lot of knowledge, a lot of information in my head. I read a lot, but it just seems like I can't use my tools and stop myself from yelling in the heat of the moment. Hazel said, me. You can use the chat as well as we go through the workshop. You can talk to each other in the chat as well. That would be awesome. Yes, the second example is what I experienced. Okay, so let's see what happens. Why is this happening? So there are 4 behavior levels. When we get dysregulated, we go through these 4 behavior levels, being the peak of the behavior level ladder, the acting out behavior. So what happens? We go through a trigger, then it escalates to anxiety, then it escalates to defensiveness, then it escalates to acting out behavior. Why do we get to a point of I cannot stop myself, I cannot use my tools, I cannot stop myself from yelling, or I just can't calm my children down? Because when a lot of the times when we don't have awareness of our triggers, we cannot understand, or we are not able to detect when we are triggered, when we are in our early stages of dysregulation. And when we acknowledge that we are triggered, it's already kind of too late. We're already in level 4. We're already in red. We're already in bright beaming red. Fire comes out of our ears. Fire comes out of our mouth. The same thing for our kids. So what can prevent that? What can prevent that? According to Crisis Prevention Intervention, this is CPI. If you're certified on CPI, let me know. But according to CPI, when we are able to understand the early stages of dysregulation, how they present in ourselves, and how we can help ourselves and our kids when they are in that early stage of nervous system dysregulation, we prevent ourselves and our children from escalating to more, this is going to sound redundant, to more escalated behavior levels, right? So the trigger is when we have there is another slide that I'm going to explain it in depth, but trigger is that when something happens and it kind of like, it agitates us a little bit. The anxiety is when the agitation becomes into restlessness. And then defensiveness is when we start getting very impatient, and then maybe we start lashing out or snapping. And this goes for kids as well. And then the acting out behavior is the yelling. Okay? For a kid, the anxiety level might look like a lot of whining. The defensiveness is defiant, straight up refusal. And the acting out behavior is the hitting, the kicking, the screaming, the biting. Okay? So when we say, I just can't calm my child down, we're getting too late to the party. In behavior level 4, we cannot do much. Just wait until their nervous system calms down. So the magic happens is when we get to work at the trigger level. And that's why this workshop is so important, because it's going to help you get the tools to understand the trigger level and to work at the trigger level. Okay, if you have questions, Monica is certified, yes. If you have questions along the way, just type it in the chat, and then I might be able to answer it as we go. Okay, so Mario, por favor. Mario, por favor, pasa. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Ya pasaste? Oh, yeah. Yes. He moved it to the next slide. Okay. It's just very similar slide. Okay, so we are going to focus this workshop not in the acting now in the meltdown, now when our children are in the meltdown, hitting, kicking, throwing, biting, now when we are already yelling, are very dysregulated. This workshop is about the early stage of dysregulation, which are triggers. So a trigger is when you or your child begins feeling stressed or anxious. It's important to recognize the early signs and respond appropriately before the behavior escalates. An example, your child getting ready for school and they can't find their favorite shirt. They get antsy and they may be constantly asking you why they can wear their favorite shirt despite your efforts to explain that their shirt is in grandma's house. Or another example is that you're getting ready for school and then you cannot find your car keys. You cannot find your car keys and that triggers you, and now your kid comes and asks you something, or they start refusing to do something. You're already triggered about the car keys. What you do to help you with that trigger is going to determine if you are going to have an escalated response when your children doesn't listen 10 minutes later, or if you're going to have a calm down response. So that's what triggers are. Otra, por favor. So what are the signs of triggers? Like agitation. I wrote this wrong. I have a typo here. Like agitation, change of baseline behavior. And this one is very important. And I work with this one a lot when I did therapeutic care for kids with high behavioral needs. So what is baseline behavior? Baseline behavior is how we are naturally, when we are calm, how we naturally present to people. So for example, if I'm a naturally talkative person and social butterfly, that's my baseline behavior. Or if I'm naturally shy and quiet and my tone of voice is low, that's a baseline behavior. So a change on baseline behavior gives us a really good clue if we are triggered or if our children are triggered. Remember that the trigger level is not tantrum, is not acting out. So it's a lot. It requires observation from our end and self-awareness of our body on our end to be able to recognize we are triggered and our children are triggered. So let me give you an example of change of baseline behavior. My son, he's naturally, I would say, a patient person. He's naturally not quiet. He's not quiet, but he doesn't yell when he expresses himself. His tone of voice is pretty mellow. He's laid back. I know he's triggered because he starts speaking really fast. He starts kind of whining. And then he starts talking a lot and asking a lot of questions. So it could be something like, why are we going there? But what time are we leaving? But are we leaving now? Like, that's a change on his baseline behavior because he's usually very mellow, laid back, easygoing, and not shy, but he doesn't talk a lot. And his tone of voice is usually very flat. When he raises up his little tone, his tone of voice, or when he starts asking a lot of questions, then I know that he changed his baseline behavior. So I'm very curious. Could you please type in the chat, what is your baseline behavior? What is your baseline behavior? For example, my baseline behavior is, what is my baseline behavior? My baseline behavior is, I'm not talkative. I talk, if it's my topic of interest, I will talk a lot, but I'm usually more of a listener than a talker. Okay, so let me know what your baseline behavior is. I typed out a document like this for each kid and give it to the teachers at the beginning of the year. Yeah, Mickey, because you were one of our coaching clients and we did that work with you. Yes, yeah, that's a really great thing to do for our kids' teacher. So especially if our kids have some kind of sensory needs or if they are neurodivergent, if we can tell the teacher what their baseline behaviors are and what happens when they get triggered, they will be able to do behavior intervention early and prevent a lot of meltdowns and acting out behavior in the classroom. So yes. What if I don't understand what my baseline behavior is? Ask people. Ask your husband, your wife, your significant other who spends the most time with you, what is my normal behavior? How do I normally act? And they will tell you. When I'm calm, how do I act? And they will tell you. Okay. At the opposite side, if you have a rambunctious, that's Miguel, my other twin, they're the opposites. Hyper, and then all of a sudden, when I know he doesn't want to talk, and when I know he doesn't answer my questions, I'm like, oh, Miguel is triggered. So that's the change of this baseline behavior. They're still able to hold a conversation. Remember that they are not at other higher behavior levels. So they're still able to talk to you. And they, at this trigger level, they're able to calm down easily if the need is met. If the need is not met, they keep escalating. Remember that every behavior communicates a need. So what trigger level is not? It's not a tantrum, it's not aggression, it's not acting out behavior, because that's a high level of nervous system dysregulation. Okay, Mario. My baseline is physically, I rub my leg or hands together, I ask questions fast. Okay. Good. I don't know it yet. It's different depending on the situation, I guess. So baseline behavior is how we normally act when we're calm, when we are in our normal self, not when we're triggered, or now when we're anxious. Okay. So when you start understanding those early signs, you prevent big storms, and you are able to address Leo storms a lot earlier. Miguel, what's going on? I see that you're kind of like you're not talking a lot. Or I asked you a question and you didn't answer to me, and you usually answer to me, and you talk a lot. What's going on? You are able to address things a lot earlier when you understand, and you are able to have this very, I would call it, how do I call this? It's like glasses that allow you to see inside your children's heart and mind before the meltdown happens. That's a great tool to have. You are able to plan better on how to meet your needs. So when the trigger comes, you calm yourself down and your children a lot faster and easier. So Marcela knows that loud noises trigger her. And when I get triggered, I start getting really agitated and I raise my voice. Okay? So if loud noises are my trigger, and when my children come from school, they're so loud, I'm going to prepare in advance with noise canceling headphones, noise reduction headphones, taking breaks in the backyard before I feel I need a break. That's gold. Don't take a break when your body's telling you take a break, because you're already in anxious level, in defensive level, or even in acting out level. Take a break before your body really pushes you to take a break. That's acting on the trigger, not reacting to the acting out behavior. I'm talking about your acting out behavior. In coaching, you can gain an understanding of you and your child's particular triggers, and we will help you develop a plan to meet the needs beneath the triggers. So you keep coming to your coaching sessions. We can do that in the Secure Parent Collective membership if you get an opportunity to get coaching with me, or if you want a more personalized, in-depth, focus on you type of work. At the end, I could tell you how we can get there. Okay. Mario. So what is the cause of our triggers? According to Dr. William Glasser, he's a world recognized researcher in the topic of needs versus triggers. No, needs versus behavior. Every single behavior communicates a need. And I think I sound like a broken record because you are my clients and you know this. We came from 9 weeks of this. Every behavior communicates a need. So why do I want to bring this back? Because when a need is unmet, when there is a present need and the need is not being met, then we get triggered, or our children get triggered. So what happens? When our needs are chronically unmet, then our triggers are a lot stronger, right? If our needs are chronically unmet, if we are chronically not sleeping through the night, then we are more prone to having a lot of triggers during the day. And if that's your case, I highly encourage you to attend our bedtime workshop on Tuesday. Our sleep coach is going to help you develop a plan to have better nights with your kids, to prevent multiple night wake-ups. It's going to be amazing. So that's the thing. When our triggers, when our needs are chronically unmet. So let's get into the type of triggers. Remember, there are 3 types: direct triggers, indirect triggers, and trauma triggers. If you have any questions so far, drop it in the chat before I move into the types of triggers. Okay, hold on. I just opened the chat. Mickey, we have this diagram printed and posted in the learning area. Such a great tool. The needs poster, Mickey? Good, yeah. Okay. What if a child says nothing? Okay, it's not about saying. Baseline behavior is what they do, how they present themselves. So it's hard in the beginning to say like, but what, I don't know what his baseline behavior is. When we in order for us to learn someone's baseline behavior, we need to study their baseline behavior. So what I'm trying to say here is that it's very understandable if right now you don't have a clarity of what your child's baseline behavior is, because you have not been in this workshop before. So what I encourage you to do is to every day journal what your children's behavior was and what changed the behavior. For example, they were doing this, they were doing that, and then when this happened, they started doing this and that. Okay? At the end of the week, read all those behaviors, and it will give you a good idea of what your child's baseline behavior is. I think I've never told you guys, I've told my coaching clients for sure, I journal my twins' behavior since they were 10 months. Every single day, I journal their behavior. And every month, every last day of every month, I look through all the days and I read everything and I try to find patterns because I'm autistic. Not because I'm autistic, but because this helps me understand my children's triggers. I noticed that this month, Santi had sibling conflict after school. And it was every Monday. Every Monday after school, the twins had sibling conflict. Okay. What's happening every Monday after school? What's happening in school every Monday? It's such a great tool. I think it was you, Mickey, who asked me to create a journal for the coaching clients. Wasn't it you?
I did, because I thought that's such a great idea.
Yeah. And I haven't created it. I'm sorry, but I think I'm going to just sit down and create it. But basically, the journal that I use for me is that I buy a journal like this. I keep it in my vanity. And every single day when I'm doing my nighttime daycare routine, on the day I write their little, like a little line or two on of the behaviors I saw. And every week I look on the week, and every month I look on the month. And I've been doing that since 2012, since I have my kids in foster care. And it's such a great tool. But yes, I'm gonna sit down. It's just been, I don't know, I got busy with other things, Mickey. But yes, thank you for giving me that idea. Okay, so direct triggers occurs from events that produce a need and cause emotional pressure. So a direct trigger is basically the trigger happened. How would I say this? Jesus, help me word this. So a direct trigger is when my trigger is correlated to what just happened. Example, I have sensory needs. My child came, yelled. That yelling, that noise triggered my sensory needs, my nervous system, and that was a direct trigger. So that's what a direct trigger is. What just happened was the direct cause of me getting triggered, right? And remember that it always starts because of a need. I have sensory needs, so if you yell at me on my face, I get triggered, right? Or it could be any other need. It could be any of the 5 basic needs. Remember that you have the full big training on needs in members area right now. So let me give you an example. If your child sees you nursing their baby brother, they may feel excluded or jealous, which could trigger their need for belonging, and they start getting disruptive. So they start kind of like jumping on you, or bothering the baby's head, or doing things to disrupt the peace while you nurse the baby. In this case, you could include them in the process by having them help with the baby or by doing an activity together while you nurse. So remember, in the trigger level, they're not acting out, they're not tantruming, they're not defiant, they're not dysregulated type 4 level. They're a little So the intervention at the trigger level is always meeting the need. You meet the need, they calm down. You meet the need, they calm down. Okay? You meet the need, they calm down. You meet your need, you calm down. You meet your need, you calm down. Mario, por favor.
Marcela, Hazel has her hand up. Maybe she has a question.
Hazel, hi. Yeah, yes. I think she was just, ella estaba levantando la mano cuando hice una pregunta. I think she was raising her hand when I I asked a question. I don't think.
Are you asking me, Marcel? Yeah, that was before.
Yeah. Okay, maybe you take that off the screen. So.
Okay.
Mario, por favor, sigue. Indirect triggers. So that's all, like that's how, has this happened to you that my children, sometimes they do things out of nowhere. I mean, they're playing fine, and then the next thing is that they are whining or hitting their sister. Well, it could be an indirect trigger. So an indirect trigger are caused by past events and may not seem related to the current situation. Let me give you an example. My teenager, I would never forget. He comes from school, he slams the front door. He doesn't say hi to me. He drops his backpack on the floor when he knows he has to hang it on the Leo hanger. He goes right through the baby gate. He closes the baby gate so hard that it knocks it down. My twins cry because they get startled. They were babies at that moment. Not babies, like very young toddlers. And then he proceeds to go to his room and slams the door. Did something happen right there at that moment? No. I didn't do anything. I just saw him entering the house. There was not something right there that happened that triggered that behavior. So that's an indirect trigger. So what happened later on when we were processing what happened? He was having a really hard time in school because he is gay and he was living a lot of bullying because of his sexual orientation. So at that time, I was already a therapeutic provider. I was already a professional in this. And I knew when the moment that he slammed my front door, that he was triggered by something. There was something that was stressing him. So me following him and say, hey, why did you slam our door? Like, this is my house. Say hi to me. You don't come to my house and not say hi to me. Hey, you left your backpack on the floor. You know you're supposed to hang it. Parents who are blind to their children's triggers escalate things, period. End of the story. That would have escalated him so much that that behavior would have carried for the entire day, and it would have ruined my day too, because we would have gotten into a yelling match. What happened? I knew he was triggered. I knew there was something that he was going through, and it was significant because his baseline behavior was coming from school and brain dumping everything that he did in school. He was a really great, he loved to share his day with me, and he didn't do that. So for sure, I knew his baseline behavior changed. And he was more than triggered. I think he was at that point, he was in not just triggered, but he was acting out. You know, he was more than triggered. He was in the behavior 4 level because he was slamming doors, he was knocking down baby gates, etc. Okay. Do you let that pass? I didn't let that pass. I didn't let that pass. I just allowed the trigger to run its course. And when he came out of his bedroom and then he said he was hungry, I knew that he was ready to talk. And we talked about what happened. We cried together. We hugged. I told him that I was going to go to the school and I was going to advocate for him. And then once he felt he was understood, safe, heard, protected, held, then I talked about the behavior. And by the way, next time that happened, instead of slamming doors and knocking down baby gates, could you please out the gate tell me what's going on? I will help you. I will help you. And then he said yes. We cried a little more, and he didn't do it again. Okay. So next slide. Otro, por favor. Trauma triggers. So trauma triggers are psychological there is psychological stimuli that prompt involuntary recall of a previous traumatic experience. So it's involuntary and it's so many times subconscious, meaning that we are not saying, hey, me seeing my son, ¿qué pasó acá? Se le pasó. It's not conscious. It's not like, hey, I just saw my son hitting my daughter, and that reminds me of the times that my dad hit my mom. No, our brain doesn't work like that. When we have trauma, we see our son hitting our daughter, and then our nervous system immediately, boom, reacts to that. Our nervous system immediately sees that and feels the tension. Even if we have no idea, we're projecting what we lived in childhood. The same thing with our kids. Let me give you an example. I had, it wasn't a coaching session, but it was an initial call of somebody who was looking to enter our direct coaching. And then she was telling me this story that she has 2 children. The oldest one grew up with spanking, and the younger one, grew up with gentle parenting. Okay, so now she gentle parents both kids. So what happened? They were at the playground, and then the younger child accidentally hit the older one. The younger one accidentally hit the older one, the one who used to be spanked. And then she said, I don't know what happened, but my oldest one, she had the most overboard reaction to her little brother accidentally hitting her. She took him by the hand and she basically dragged him all the way down the slide, and then she fought him so hard. And then I got so triggered that I went to her and I yelled at her, and then we got in the car, I spanked her, and then I cried because I felt so guilty. So what happened here? Trauma trigger. Even if the little brother didn't hit her as hard, even if the little brother didn't do it on purpose, this child has trauma because she was spanked. So it wasn't that she was like, hey, little brother hitting me reminded me of the time I was spanked. No, her nervous system reacted to that. It's a trauma trigger. Okay? It's a trauma trigger. So the same wise, when on our end, if we were spanked and our kids hit us, our 2-year-old hitting us is not putting our lives in jeopardy. Yet it feels that way. It feels that unsafe because we are triggered. It's a trauma trigger for us. It feels that alarming. So those are trauma triggers. Keep going, please. Más. Otro. Por favor. So before I end the section 1, which is understanding triggers, the way to help ourselves with our triggers is being aware of them. What about if this mom, the one who came to my initial call, if this mom knew that was a trauma trigger for her daughter? Do you think that would have helped her act more empathetically towards the child and not ending up in spanking her? Or do you think she would have spanked her anyway? I believe that she would have been a lot more empathetic if she knew, hey, that overboard reaction my daughter had was a trauma trigger because she was spanked and now this is triggering her trauma. She would have been more empathetic. So that's why it's important to understand our triggers. Now, what to do with our triggers? And that's section 2, which is the peace process to manage our triggers and calm down a lot quicker. So, step number 1, please write this down. Write this down. Step number 1, presence, presence, presence. So, being present is basically anchoring our body into the present moment. Okay? Right now, I'm here with my kids. I just saw my son hitting sister. I understand this is a trauma trigger. That's why it's important to understand our triggers. I understand this is a trauma trigger. He's not my dad hitting my mom. It's just my son having a hard time sharing. Okay. Anchoring your body. You anchor your body with allowing yourself to feel, allowing the body sensation to happen, anchoring yourself to the reality of the moment, naming one emotion, a primary, a secondary. If your children are the ones who are triggered, a really great way to anchor them is to use my Navigating Feeling Toolkit. This is a paid resource that you have free access to for being a member of the Secure Parent Collective membership. So here you basically are able to go through the prompts, so they're able to recognize their primary emotions. Everything is written in kid language. So this is not for the adults. This is written for the kids to understand. This is section 1. Section 2 is understanding secondary emotions. So those are the more tender emotions underneath the general emotions. So usually underneath anger, there might be helplessness, there might be powerlessness, there might be grief, And then it comes with other tools to help you anchor your children. You can even apply on yourself. You find this resource in members area. This is a paid resource for everybody by you guys. So that's the first step. Otra. The second step is empathy. Empathy towards your feelings, empathy to your body, towards your body sensations. It's okay to feel angry with your kids. It's okay to feel trauma triggered. It's okay to have your triggers. Don't try to get out of them. You should not be angry, Marcela. You should be farther along. You've been in the Secure Parent Collective way too long. No, don't do that. It's okay to feel what you're feeling. And then help your body with some kind of calming sensory tool. It might be rubbing your hands. It might be taking deep breaths. It might be, I don't know. My biggest one is this. Just find the one that works for you. Okay, next. The next one is acknowledge your trigger. Is it direct? Is it indirect? Is it trauma trigger? So as you are working on your calming sensory tool, and as you are calming down, say, hey, I think this is an indirect trigger. Because this morning I had a really rough conversation with my boss. So I'm carrying stress from that conversation. My child is not triggering me. It's that conversation with my boss. It will help you put in context your triggers, and that helps you calm down a lot faster. Discover your need. I need support. I don't think it's so much that my child is giving me a hard time. I don't think they're giving me a hard time. I'm having a hard time right now because I'm tired and I need support. And I see my husband on their phone watching nonsense. I'm going to ask for support. Just to give you an example. Discover your need. Next, otra. conscious choice or conscious communication. So the conscious choice is, again, you're coming from a process of presence. I think I forgot the E. Yeah, you're coming from a process of presence, empathy, acknowledging the need. You're coming from that. Now the C is, how am I going to respond? What is the decision, the choice that I choose? What do I choose right now? How do I choose to act? Right? How do I choose to act? And by the way, if you're like, hey, how do I do all this? I could take some questions if we have time at the end of this process today. Or if you want to do these in a more personalized way, we can tell you how. We do this with our clients all the time. So decide how to respond. Okay, now I know that I'm having a hard time because I have not eaten. I don't even remember if I ate breakfast today. Did I eat breakfast? No, I don't think I ate breakfast. Okay, I think I'm going to eat breakfast. So decide how you're going to meet your need or your child's need. Continue. Otro, por favor. And then the last one is explore the solutions to meet the need. So the one before this one is the conscious choice. You are deciding. And then the E is that you are acting, you are doing it. You are exploring the solutions. So if you did this process, this peace process with your child, at this point, you're already troubleshooting with them. So you might be troubleshooting with them like, okay, I know, okay, it was hard that Susie she's still riding the wooden pony. What can we do while we wait for the pony? Or maybe you can go and ask her again. And if she says no, what are you going to do? Like, give them the alternative, like just in case it doesn't work, going to ask for the pony again for the turn. So you can do this. Again, you can do this because you are at the trigger level and because your children are at the trigger level. This peace process is a trigger level process. Because when your children are already hitting, kicking, screaming, biting, you cannot explore solutions with them. You cannot. And that way you will prevent so much meltdown and acting out behavior just by acting early. By acting early. That's basically the whole premise of crisis prevention intervention. Intervene as early as possible, and you will get the best results in terms of the time that it takes you to calm down, the time it takes your children to calm down, the intensity. So as therapeutic providers, we measure behavior by three things: intensity of the behavior, frequency of the behavior, and duration of the behavior. Parents in general, they measure behavior by, my child's still hitting, by it either happens or it doesn't happen. My encouragement for you is to track your progress in the HIC, in the Secure Parent Collective membership in terms of intensity, frequency, and duration. Meaning, how many times am I yelling now? Like, I noticed that I went from yelling every single day to yelling 3 days a week. That's progress. Intensity. I noticed that I went from ranting and yelling and being on that high level for 10 minutes straight. And then now when I do yell, it's kind of like 2 minutes and then I repent and I say sorry. Okay, that's progress. And then that's frequency, intensity, and then the duration. My children's meltdowns went from 10 minutes to 5 minutes. That's progress. So when you measure your children's progress, don't set the bar as they're still crying. They're still tantruming. They're still hating. They're still defiant. They're still not listening. Okay, let's go on to the nuance of like, have they made progress? And that's basically how my team and I measure behavior. That's how we measure behavior with our coaching clients. Okay, let me know, has the intensity reduced? Has the frequency reduced? Has the duration reduced? Like, tell me in those 3 areas, what's been the progress? If you start journaling your children behaviors, notice patterns on those 3 areas. And that was not in the script of today's workshop. But I just wanted to give it to you because it's important. Okay, Mario. So maybe you were raised with toxic dynamics. There are 2 kinds: power under dynamic and power over dynamic. Maybe you were raised with power under dynamic of, I'm too tired with you to go to your dad or go to your mom. Figure it out. I'm too busy. It's not a big deal. Just ignore it. Walk it off. Stop crying. Come on, you should know better by now. You're too old. You're too old for this. That's a power under dynamic. It places the power of the parent and place it on the child. The responsibility, the whole responsibility is the child's responsibility. That's a power under dynamic. Or maybe you were raised with a power over dynamic because I said so. Ya te dije y punto. It's the same thing but in Spanish. Stop crying or I will give you a reason to cry. I'm the parent, you're the child. You don't say no to me. You don't say no to me. No me contesté así, muchachita. That's how my mom used to say. Stop it. Enough. Cut it out. Maybe you grew up in those dynamics. Now you have a beautiful opportunity. The beautiful opportunity that you have is that I'm not seeing Mario. I lost my people. I don't see their faces. Are you guys here? Hold on. I don't see them. Mario, could you please stop the presentation? Then I'll go to the people and then let's come back to it because I like to see them. Sorry, I lost you guys. I don't know why. Ok, otra vez a la presentación, por favor. Okay, now I see you. Hey. Okay, Mario, how do I get to see people? Because I'm not seeing people. I did something on the camera and now I'm not seeing people, but it's okay. It's okay. So maybe you grew up in these dynamics. You get to change the narrative for your kids. And how do you change the narrative for your kids? By embodying parenting with understanding. What's parenting with understanding? Understanding what? Understanding your needs, understanding your children's needs, understanding your behavior levels, your triggers, understanding your children's behavior levels, their triggers, and embodying this process that we're doing with you in the Secure Parent Collective membership, or if you are as well one of our coaching clients like Mickey, by embodying this process in your family. And I know that one thing is it's easier said than done. That's why you're here. Because this is like, it's almost impossible, I would say, if not impossible, to rewire your entire self and dynamic with your kids just by watching TikToks and Reels. So you are here and you are on the right place, because that's where we see transformation. When you keep coming to these sessions, when you keep plugging into the information, into the tools, and when you get guidance.